if the creative economy is the source of economic growth, if creativity requires diversity, openness, and tolerance, if every single human being is creative, and since creativity will not tolerate nor accept the social categories we have imposed in ourselves. Creativity comes equally in both genders. It doesn't care about age. Age is irrelevant. It doesn't care about your nationality, your ethnicity, your race. It doesn't care about your sexual orientation, your vocation. Creativity annihilates all of those categories. If all those things are true, there's one last fact we have to understand. You see, we used to think that a creative, knowledge-based economy, an information age, would make place less relevant. That if we got to this point in globalization with the new technologies, we would be freed from community. We could go off and live wherever we wanted to, freed from the constraints of being around other people. We can be out on our own, free agents, free thinking, free sailing, whatever it is. We could be freed from the constraints of geography. But you know, place matters more now than ever before. Because human beings on our own are not all that productive, no matter how bright we are. An individual human being can be great at things, but there is really no such thing as individual genius. It's when human beings come together in communities that true genius flourishes. That's what my mentor, Jane Jacobs, the late Jane Jacobs, wrote about. She didn't have a college education. She didn't have a graduate degree, but the Nobel Prize-winning economist Robert Lucas said she deserved a Nobel Prize because she figured out what truly drives economic prosperity. What truly drives economic prosperity, as I've mentioned before, isn't natural resources or great big factories or great big ports. What has driven economic prosperity for all of human history was communities of people. Communities of people who make each other better and stronger and smarter and more productive, just like you've done in Noosa. Communities of people who come together to figure out new ways of growing things, new ways of making things, new ways of doing things, organizing themselves into communities and societies. It's people in clusters together that are the stuff of economic growth. So place is actually, you know, we talk in Australia and talk in this community about making a place for barefoot executives. It's that it's people coming together in a place that they want to be, that they're excited by, that they're energized by, the kind of place they want to make and call a home for their families. It's when those people come together that drives economic growth. And so place really matters. In fact, I wrote about this in Rise of the Creative Class. I wrote about it in Cities in the Creative Class. But I've only come to see this in my new book, Who's Your City? And the way I've come to see this is, again, I went back to my parents and their principles. I thought about my dad's advice. Study hard. Go to a good university. Work hard. Take a career. Make a good job. Get your finances in order. Save your money. And for most of us, we've always thought having a great job that we love is a key to our personal fulfillment. And I thought about my mom. My mom was incredibly smart. My mom said something, I think, even deeper than my dad. She said, Richard, it's not just about money and it's not just about work. It's about your family. And it's about the people you love. It's about taking that right life partner or spouse, marrying that special person. She said, you know, your dad only had an 8th grade education. He wasn't a rich guy. But I loved him every day of our lives. So it was the greatest decision and the smartest decision. And I had a wonderful life because I was madly in love with your father. We had a wonderful family. That is what the source of true happiness is. What my mom and dad didn't tell me, and what I've come to understand, is that work and job and career and that vocation is important and it's special. I love what I do. I'm sure many of you and more of us have to do what we love. Finding that special person and having a great family and having surrounded by that unconditional love is critical. But there's a third leg of the triangle, which I've stumbled upon in my research. No one else ever figured this out. The third leg of the triangle, I know you know it, is your community, is your place. In fact, we did a survey with the Gallup organization. We surveyed 28,000 people. And we asked them what makes them truly happy and fulfilled in their life. And place was the second most important category. Personal relationships, family was number 1, place was second, job and career was third. Together, they formed a triangle of happiness. people take incredible joy. We take, and it's so amazing to me that we sometimes forget it. And that urban experts and economic development officials forget it. We take incredible joy from the place that we live. We take fundamental joy. And in our research, we distilled the reasons for that. And it's amazing to me. And it kind of takes the shape of a pyramid. There was this guy, Maslow, a psychologist, who first identified a hierarchy of needs. And it looks something like this Maslow pyramid. At the bottom of it is great infrastructure, low crime, great schools, good pipes, good sewers. Got to have it. At the second level in the pyramid is great opportunity, great social opportunity, great civic opportunity, great economic opportunity, a place to do something you care about. In the middle of the pyramid, and I think it's a true strength of Noosa, is leadership. Is the kind of leadership that allows people and empowers people and lets them take charge of their lives. It's the, I asked Jane Jacobs this. I said, Jane, what is the key in building a truly creative and prosperous community? And she said to me, Rich, every person is creative, every community is creative. Leadership is a key lever. She said, in so many communities that you've come across, that she's come across, she said there's people who want to contribute, who want to create energy, who want to make their town better, but the people who are the so-called leaders, she said they're not leaders, they're squelchers. Squelchers. They're the people who say, no, you can't, that's not the way it's done here, we can't do it that way, the squelchers. And you're so fortunate in Noosa to have leaders that believe and empower people, because I've seen the towns. I've seen what the squelchers can do. Now, the two top parts of the pyramid are where things gets interesting, because lots of people know infrastructure matters, lots of people know economic opportunity matters. People are now understanding that leadership matters. What most people forget is that they're the two top parts of the pyramid that are absolutely critical. Number two, second from the top, 28,000 people told us this. What they want and need in their town is a town that is open-minded, has great values, and cares about diversity. We asked a question on our survey. Is your community a good place for families? Is it a good place for children? Is it a good place for ethnic minorities? Is it a good place for racial minorities? Is it a good place for artists? Is it a good place for scientists? Is it a good place for the gay and lesbian community? Is it a good place for all these different kinds of folks? What surprised us is the communities where the majority of people said our town is a good place for everyone. The level of happiness went off the chart. In communities where people said, oh, it's a good place for families, but not for singles. Oh, it's a good place for straight people, not for gays. All the happiness went down. So values and openness and making everyone feel like they're part of a whole is critical. And then there's the top part of the pyramid. We called it quality of place. It's the quality of place itself that really matters to us. If we really want to be truly happy and excited by our communities, the quality of the place itself matters deeply. We asked 28,000 people. You know what the most important factor was? Clean water, a great environment, the ability to use nature. Number one factor, not just for rich people, not for middle-class people, for every single kind of person, having a great natural green environment, a place that has real soul, that protects its history, that is authentic. You know, so much of the world has become generic. You see it? I travel all over the world. You go to a main street, it has the exact same set of shops. You don't know if you're in Tokyo, you're in New York, you're in London, where you are, you see the same thing. There's this one, you know the names. I don't even need to repeat the names. And the same food. What people told us is they want to go to a place that's authentic, that's real, that has a true soul, a soul of the community. And when you're traveling, when you're moving around, when you have choice of where to live, people were saying they want to go to a place that's authentic and that they feel they can connect with. Well, I've been around Noosa for a week, and I'm blown away. And we're going to spend, the better part of a year or longer than a year with our team working in Noosa. And I expected to be impressed, but really, I think myself and Rana and Sarah and our team are blown away. Obviously, our statistics, we did a report, we'll be releasing it. Noosa looks fantastic on paper. It has a large percentage of people in the creative class. On our environmental and sustainability benchmarks, it's a model for Australia and the world, the fourth T, territorial assets we call it. It's a place that has talented people. It's open-minded, has a large gay and lesbian community. It's a place that people can feel that they can be themselves and realize their dream.